She might be like, come hang out with me and my girlfriends. And all her girlfriends are interested in slobbing knobs of complete strangers. Hey, what's up? It's me, Jessica J, and I was just wondering if you've ever sat and thought to yourself, Jessica, should I talk to strangers because it will change my life? Well, if so, I'm glad you asked, because the short answer is yes. And to make sure you never miss out on another opportunity to hear one of these really quick tips on how to change your life or another one of my videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button with the notification bell. Okay, so if you've been with me for more than a week, probably caught wind of my 5-day training that I did, where every day I honed in and delved into a specific part of the attraction process when it comes to getting women you want. Day 1 was approaching. Day 2, connections and chemistry. Day 3, flirting and laughing and shit. Day 4, body language, physicality, moving things forward. And day 5 was how to get all that shit on autopilot. But there was one guy I heard from who sat in on all the training, didn't fucking try any of it, which is fine. I gave a lot of tips. I get a lot of formulas and tools and tips. And if you've like never done anything at all, it was a lot to take in, a lot. So anyway, I talked to this one guy and he had been single for a very long time. He has been single for a very long time. In fact, he hasn't even spoken to a woman in years. I think he's only dated 2 women in his life. I'm pretty sure he's in his 50s or 60s. Anyway, he says he's been watching my stuff for a very long time now. He's been privy to all my teachings. He's gotten a bunch of my programs, a bunch of my courses, but it was on this specific training where something shifted dramatically for him. So he says to me, yeah, no, I have never in my life talked to a single stranger. I've never approached a woman. In fact, for all the programs you have, I've never tried any of your shit. He even said from the training, he hasn't tried anything. But he said there is one thing he is now doing differently. Where before the training, he never fucking did it ever before in his life. He is now approaching strangers everywhere he goes. We're fine. He is not using my approach formula, but he's doing something he's never done in his 50, 60 years on this planet, which is talking to strangers. So I asked him, how come you've just never approached strangers before? You know, it's just not me. I've never done it. I'm the type of person I keep to myself. And now every day I make a point to talk to at least one stranger. And I was like, my God, what a big difference. Is it as bad as you thought it would be? And he says, no, people are actually really nice. But I will say this, if approaching isn't your thing, if getting women interested in you isn't your thing, at the very least, talk to strangers and see just how nice human beings actually can be when you're not trying to get anything from them, when you're not trying to do anything, where you are just commenting to the person next to you because the both of you are standing there right now. Because once your brain, and I talked about this in the last video, once your brain sees it's not so bad, after so many it's not so bads, eventually you'll be able to start approaching women. And eventually you'll start realizing that it's totally okay to talk to complete strangers. This is fine. And then eventually your brain will translate that into, well, everybody seems really nice. I can relate to a lot of these people. They're just a human being like I'm just a human being. Eventually that will translate into a woman you are mildly attracted to. But again, it's about giving your brain the evidence to know that this new thing I'm doing is okay. Granted, this guy isn't using any of the tips from my training, but he's doing something differently. And you know what? That's one of the first things I give my own clients as homework if they're having trouble approaching. But now that that guy has all that good reinforcement to his brain that talking to strangers is fine, now he is able to consciously use my approach formula the next time he goes out and talks to strangers. Because thinking of those two things, okay, I've never talked to strangers before in my life, but I gotta use this approach formula. Ha! System overload. But okay, let me try talking to strangers. Step 1, talking to strangers, It's not so bad. Now that he has broken that barrier where he can now go in with this new challenge, like, okay, now use Jessica's approach formula. Because talking to strangers is not so bad anymore. And if approaching isn't a fucking problem for you, I always say people are always access and endorsement. Don't try to just use people for access and endorsement. But when people like you, they always want their people to know you as well. I can't tell you how many dudes I've met in my life where I'm like, yo, you're Awesome! I need to hook you up with one of my girlfriends. We women are constantly doing it. We love playing Cupid. So if you meet just a random chick who's a stranger, maybe she's not your type, but you guys get along, she might be like, come hang out with me and my girlfriend. And all her girlfriends are interested in slobbing knobs of complete strangers. Anyway, you get my point. And if you weren't able to catch my live training, which has changed guys' lives just from knowing this information. Again, you can't unknow this shit. And once your brain knows the how and the why, so when you know the science and psychology behind what attracts us women to you men, what makes us feel connected and in need and desperate for you out of any other guy out there, doing the things necessary to create those connections and that chemistry, it comes so much easier. It's kind of like if I handed you a screwdriver and was like, get to work, but you didn't know what a screwdriver did or why it was necessary, you'd be like, okay, when do I use it and where? So I don't even know if I actually said this yet, but if you weren't able to catch my 5-day training where we went over approach, creating connections, laughing and flirting, body language, moving things forward, and getting everything on autopilot, I now have the entire series available. You can check it out at this link right here. If you weren't able to catch it, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't even know who I am anymore. Or you could go to jessicajdating.com/3steps. And I'm telling you, he's not the only guy I heard from where they didn't do fuck all, but now their lives are changing. I talked to another guy, again, he didn't use anything, but for the first time in his life, he now has women approaching him. He's like, I didn't do anything though. I didn't do anything. I'm telling you, when you see the world differently, the world responds differently to you. And it's hard to unsee the shit I'm about to tell you guys in this 5-day training program. So check it out right now while you still can at this link here, or go to jessicajdating.com/3steps and just talk to strangers, guys. We're not so bad. I'm a stranger, but you like me. You can meet the next Jessica J out there. Oh my God, imagine, wow. And thanks for watching as always. I'll see you guys next time.